All right, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. All right, first off, I want to say Shalom to the ones that push this word out in truth and in sincerity, which are the apostles and elders on down to the brothers. Right, Shalom to the ones that endure this faith until the very end, until the time of Jacob's trouble, which are again the apostles and elders on down to the brothers and a few sisters. All right, so Shalom. I want to do, well, not even a quick video, honestly. This video pretty much going based on going into the creation of NATO, right? Which is mostly the breakdown of Revelation 13, right? Because first off, man, the creation of NATO was really a threat. There kind of was no need for NATO to be created, right? Pretty much the whole situation was because the Germans, right? The main capital of Germany was the city of Berlin, right? Pretty much, America was jumping in and pretty much helping Germany, but they was using guile, right? Pretty much trying to put Joseph Stalin, right, the president at that time of the USSR, they was pretty much trying to put him on the spot, trying to make him do good by, trapping him in the shit, right? Pretty much in school, somebody will give you stuff just for you to give back, right? That's pretty much them trapping them in. So pretty much, it was pretty much against Truman and Stalin. And what happened was, America started assisting Germany. They was shipping supplies by air, like 4,000 tons, right? Been researching this all week. They've been dropping in about like 4,000 tons of supplies, for both Germany and the USSR. But then they already knew that Stalin was getting a little, out of hand. They even mentioned that he would use civilians, right, for his own greed for the supplies. But following that, they was pretty much using it as a threat. By 1949, they created, in like April, I think, they created NATO, right? The North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So I went into, NATO, right? This is pretty much West Germany versus East Germany, right? West Germany was the capital of Berlin. East Germany was the Soviet zone, pretty much what they called it. So around then, NATO already had a selected few members, right? So I actually have a list up of what's in NATO, right? NATO includes Britain, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Canada, Iceland, Luxembourg, and this was like originally back then. Now it's probably even more. Denmark, Norway, Portugal, and of course, the U.S., which the U.S. is in charge of that. They're the head of it, right? And not only that, but even back then, that slave owner George Washington, he even warned against, other militaries that things like this was going to happen. But guess what? This was already mentioned in the scriptures, right? So this is Revelation 13, right? This isn't going to be the full, thing of Revelation 13, but the main points, right? This is Revelation 13 and 1. And, I got my notes with me. It's always good, to have notes. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, right? And that sand of the sea is what? The people. And saw a beast rise out of the sea, right? So that was a beast that came out from the multitude of the people, right? This was a vision, right? A vision of today, right? So that beast back then was NATO and the EU, right? The North Atlantic Treaty Organization and European Union, right? The League of Nations. Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Right? So let's stop there. That's 7 heads, right? Let's go into the 7 heads. Now, these names are going to be real familiar because I just pretty much read them out. French, right? Those were the French, the Romans, Britain, Germany, Spain, right? Portugal, right? I believe Asia Minor, if I remember, or Germana, right? And the 10 horns, Belgium, France, Greece, Germany, Spain, Italy, Luxembourg, right? The Netherlands, the UK, right? The United Kingdom, that's Britain, and Portugal, right? So that was the 10 horns. So the same thing was back then as today, right? So let's continue. It says, and the beast which I saw, Salakia, yep. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Right. So let's go into that. That leopard, right? That leopard was Alexander, right? Alexander the Great, the Greek, right? But then you had the feet like unto a bear, which were the Medes, or today Russia, right? The lion was Great Britain, and that dragon that they're speaking about is that Roman, the ancient Roman Empire, right? So pretty much they gave authority to America. And them giving authority to America, America has been taking over and conquering for centuries. And they gave authority. But it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his Salaki, yep, and his head and his deadly wound was healed. Right? So that deadly wound is America, right? From Babylon to, modern day Babylon, right? Babylon the Great, America. That's what you see today. Now, God precepts with this as well. This is Habakkuk 2:5. It says, yet also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right? So the main point is there. He gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And this is exactly what that is. Right? The forming of NATO, the EU, all of that. He's gathering unto him all nations. And what's crazy, in fact, I just remembered something. They put it in the movies, right? You ever watch Transformers or something like that, right? There was this one, there was 7. Crazy numbers, 7. The number of completion, right? What did we just read? 7 heads, right? And 10 horns. There's one Transformer, right? There's multiple of them. They call them Constructicons, pretty much. They was part of the Decepticons, right? There's 7 of them. They're these construction vehicles. But they all form, right? They all start connecting their parts and forming into one big colossal giant, pretty much an abomination. And they called it Devastator. Now, they might say it's 6 of them, but it's actually 7. You know, they put it right in front of your faces. They put it in the movies. 7 of them form into this colossal giant. And that's the representation of Babylon today, right? That's why you got the statue, right? All the empires, they're all formed into one. Everything that you see today was of foretime before, right? It was all, reorchestrated. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Right? So he increaseth that which is not his. Most of this land is not his. Right? As we already know, Job 9 verse 24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. But he takes. Right? And how long? He ladeth himself with thick clay. You know, him forming NATO in 1949, that was actually a year after, them people, who I'm talking about, was put in that land. Right? But he laid himself in thick clay. The creation of NATO, that's causing, a lot of debt. That thick clay is that debt. And he has to pay off a lot of places. Mostly the investors. This man is in a lot of debt, especially after everything he's done. But NATO was formed, as really a scare tactic towards Stalin, right? Towards the USSR. But that's not actually the case. That's what they will say. But what would be the point in creating a whole alliance with so many countries if it's just a scare tactic against one? That don't make sense. That's the one thing that they will always tell you. But I researched into that. Well, actually, no, I didn't. Slovakia. It's just plain and simple. The creation of NATO was to prepare for the war that's coming up. That's all. That's all there is to it, right? That's why you got Revelation 12 or 12, which I'll read after this. Right? The creation of NATO is for what's to come, right? Because that's still a prophecy, right? Because it was written in the scriptures, right? Through the power of Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. So it says, and all the world wondered at the after the beast, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Pretty much they putting, that was NATO, being put into power. Right? And that beast is America. So now they're upholding this place, because they're like, well, who's going to defeat this place now? Right? Who's going to stop us? That's why, America is pretty much considered untouchable. Now, let's go into Isaiah 31 and 1. It says, woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, right? And in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord, right? That's why we're not supposed to be going unto this place seeking help. And that's what the hell they was doing. Verse 4 of Isaiah 13 is a complete precept to Isaiah 31 and 1. Right? Because, they're trusting in them, right? Because they have many horsemen, right? They stay on horses. They trust in chariots. They are many, right? They're very strong. That's a prime example. They're seeing this pretty much. It's a colossal giant. It's almost like Devastator, right? America is pretty much the Devastator of a movie, right? It's a big ass abomination. That's why I call it an amalgamation. You go into amalgamation, it's a mixture, right? It's a filthy mixture of all things. right? So let's continue. It says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months, right? Those 40 and 2 months, right? Those were, that was 40 years, right? 40 years and 2 months. Slovakia, 3.5 years, right? That was 3.5 years. So if we jump down to verse 11, actually, right? Let's go to verse 11. Here's another thing that you see today. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, right? What were, let's go into the past, right? Plebeians and patricians. Today, those 2 horns are the Democrats and Republicans. Everything that's happened before is like Gog and Magog, right? Everything that's happened before is happening today. And that's why, most of these people, this is a spiritual power right here. Most of these people don't understand, they're not given the mysteries, right? But to them, right, it is given. The prophets of Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Because then we could go into this, through the elders and apostles, right? And decipher, what it's actually talking about. Average person will read this and they'll be like, oh, it's an actual dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, it's a mystical creature. And I don't believe this. And I'm going to just put this down, man. I'm going atheist or Islam. Right? No. You got to go into the actual definitions. Because what is being read here today is the same thing that prosper. Right? So those 2 horns were the Democrats and Republicans. Right? And that speaking as a dragon, that was pretty much the lies, that they speak unto the people. Right? Pretty much all the different philosophies and doctrines that's out here. So, I just quoted this earlier, right? This is Revelation 12:12. Yep, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. That was the creation of NATO, right? The NATO and EU. There's no reason to create such a big ass alliance, just as a scare tactic, against Stalin. There's more to that. Because y'all know through the spirit and power of Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua that y'all time is up. And y'all know it. You know who we are. You know what's to come. You can't hide it anymore. Putin, speaking of Russia, shit. Putin just, released the fact that, the black Jesus, he's catching hell now. All things are done through the spirit and power of Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Right? There's nothing y'all can do about it. So, this is Malachi 1:4. It says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Right? So the Lord is going to, they're going to build, right? This is what that is, them building this place, this amalgamation of nightmares. But the Lord is going to destroy it. right? Who's going to stop him? You know, Master E, you got something to say? You know, is there something that you got to say against that? Does anybody, object? Because there's nothing you can do. You know, it's already written in the scriptures. You know, this place is going to fall, whether you like it or not, whether you 2/3 like it or not. You know, y'all want to stay in this place and continue in y'all further oppression, right? But to us, further oppression maketh a wise man mad, and mad goes into wise. So, hopefully this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.